Every single real estate coach teaches you how to get leads, but almost none of them teach you what happens after you get the lead. Here's the CRM system that I spent 7 years perfecting that makes me $300,000 a year on average from leads that I don't even know exist. Now, what's the number one thing that every agent thinks that they need more of? It's leads. I do a ton of training for brokerages in my own office, and whenever I have training that's about nurturing leads, my attendance rate is minimal. But whenever I do training on how to generate leads, it's always the most amount of agents, because we all think that more leads is the solution to our problem when that couldn't be further from the truth. So let's talk about the compounding leads trap, okay? This is the trap that every realtor gets stuck in because they think that more is the answer. Month one, let's use conservative numbers and say that you generate 30 leads a month, which is fairly easy to stay on top of, right? It's not that hard to stay on top of calling, texting, emailing 30 leads. Great. Month two, you get 30 more. Now you're at 60, still fairly easy. Now month three, 90, it's getting a little bit more challenging, 120, and so on and so forth. And as this goes on, you just get more and more leads in your database. The average contact attempt for a lead is over 10 phone calls, right? Now, how many of those, let's just say 140 leads, are you actually calling 10 times? That would take you all day, every day to sit down and prospect all day, every day. The reality here is you can't dial your way out of this. Before we get into section one, the visualization I want you to have with this, because I think this really hits home, is if you just genuinely picture a leaky bucket, right? You're holding a bucket and there's water dripping out the bottom. This is a real representation of most real estate agents' businesses because they're continuously trying to fill their bucket because their bucket is emptying because there's a hole in the bottom. It's just dripping out and draining all the leads that you're not following up with, you're missing out on, and you just continue to spend more money trying to fill it, but it's a never-ending problem. It's never going to get repaired if you just keep trying to toss money, toss more leads. More leads is not the answer. The answer is to repair that bucket, right? So that when you do put money to get leads or you do generate more leads coming in, you're going to be overflowing with leads, and that's how you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year automatically within your own CRM. So the first layer to this is segmenting by source and avatar, because you can't contact and communicate with everybody the same way, right? The message really depends on where they're at and where they came from. You have to think of the sales funnel, right? Everybody's at a different point of their sales funnel, at their sales journey. Okay, so your messaging has to be very crystal clear to reach them at where they are. For example, some people come into your database are super unaware, and you have some people that are much more problem aware. Now, you have to communicate with those two people very differently. If you go into a hard sell and extremely aggressive with someone that's super unaware, they just came into your database, you're likely gonna push them away. But the complete opposite happens when you have somebody come into your database that's red hot, ready to go. If you're not giving them guidance, telling them the next steps, on making sure they know exactly what's gonna happen next, if you're not aggressive enough, somebody that's ready would likely work with a different realtor who is helping them actually guide them in the right direction at the time they need it most when they're ready to go. For a visual representation, your CRM should have different boards with different tags: new buyer, nurture buyer, new seller, nurture seller, investor, renter. These are just different types of avatar in your system, which need to be contacted by you differently, right? Because the way that you would contact and speak to somebody that's a brand new buyer versus somebody on the nurture campaign would be completely different. Something that we do really cool inside of our Real Estate Money community, which has 1,200 agents across North America, is we actually give our agents the exact CRM standard operating procedures that I've perfected over these last 7 years that earn me over $300,000 a year every single year. All we do is we copy and paste my exact systems in my CRM and all of my standard operating procedures and put them into your systems for you. Second layer to this is one sequence per avatar. Now you have to think of this as each individual tag would trigger a specific campaign for that specific type of client. Now all of these different tags are completely useless if they don't have the right drip campaign or email campaign behind that. When I'm working with someone that is a new buyer, my drip campaign is going to be much more frequent. My drip campaigns are going to be marketing first, trying to get their attention, maybe with more clickbait type email subject lines. The purpose of my new buyer campaign is to really get their attention, They're new to me and they're new to my funnel. So I want to reach out often, right? And grab their attention while I have the opportunity. Now, with someone that's a nurture buyer, right? Someone that I've already spoken with, I've established where they're at on the sales funnel, where they're at in their journey. They're now being nurtured by me. The communication and touch points would be much less frequent, but also much more educational versus marketing. I'm going to make sure that I follow up with every lead so relentlessly and automatically so that when they do decide to buy, that I'm the only realtor they can think about, because I would rather get a text message that says, please stop talking to me, than the worst text message or email in the world that says, hey Dave, I just bought a place, haven't heard from you in a little while, sorry, hope all is well. Okay, I cannot live with that one, but I can live with the first one. One mindset shift I really want you to have is that most leads that come into your database, depending on the lead source, but most are fairly cold. And the reality is, whenever I get a lead coming in, I don't expect that lead to transact in the next 3 months, even year. If I get a new lead today, I'm expecting they're 1 year out, right? So I need to do everything I can to stay top of mind so that when they are ready, I'm the realtor they choose. And the reason that I'm earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from my CRM database is because my drip campaigns are 7 years long. So I don't care if they come in today and they don't transact until 2030. I'm still going to stay top of mind. It is impossible to manually stay in touch with every single person you've had a conversation with. It's impossible. My database has over 23,000 people. The reason why that's so important is because I'm going to push them down my sales funnel myself so that I have an educated consumer, so that when they are ready to pull the trigger, I've been educating them for 30 days to 3 years, and they already feel like they know the process, and they're much easier to close because I've been educating them for so long. The third layer to this is automating the intake. And the reason I'm so passionate about this part is because I really believe that speed to lead is so important. You have to think of the psychology behind consumers nowadays. Everybody's clicking on everything, trying to get as much information as fast as possible from as many sources as possible. But I want to be the one that gets them the information they need first. It is absolutely impossible to think that I can contact manually every lead that comes into my database within the first minute or 2 minutes that they land in my CRM. I have showings I have to be on with clients. I have admin work I have to do. I have phone calls I have to be on, meetings I have to be on. It's just impossible to think that. So I need these automations to help me stay top of mind and help me with speed to lead. For example, inquiry hits realtor.com. It would go directly into my CRM. They would get an automatic text message from me and an automatic email from me. My system would then notify me by auto tagging this person new buyer. When a lead comes into my database, not only are they going to get an email from me and a text from me, my CRM is going to automate the tag and the stage and the source depending on where the lead comes in from, using AI automations like Zapier to make sure that everything is done correctly. Those are the 3 layers that are so important to anybody's CRM. But the reality is you were never one lead source away from winning. You were one system away from winning. So stop thinking that you just need more leads. More leads are not the problem. You have to fix the leaky bucket first. And you do that through automation and organization.